Welcome to Freeing Yourself from Anxiety and Fear. You're watching a multi-part series. If you hadn't already, please go and watch part 1. The link is also shown in the video description of this video on YouTube. As we go along, I'll be adding more parts to this series, so you might want to subscribe to this channel or bookmark it for future reference. In the first part, I covered an episode in my life where I had gone through an immense amount of anxiety and how I developed tools to deal with anxiety. In the second part, I introduced one of the tools that I use to deal with anxiety. So, what is the second tool that I use? The second tool is reflection as it pertains to lack of judgment. I know that this tool, lack of judgment, won't be easy to digest for everyone, but if you're able to digest it, it will give you a lot of peace. And later, we will even explore some very interesting perspectives on what kind of thoughts a person without judgment might have about a person or government like China that has clearly demonstrated poor decision making that has caused immense damage. So brace yourself for some interesting perspectives. We're quick to judge other people, but in reality, you inherited a mind and body that you are not. Just as the other person across from you, whom you may be judging negatively, has a limited mind and body, which is an inherited phenomena. That person, or the life force within that person, is a pure form. How the person is behaving is governed by the mind and body that the person has inherited. If circumstances had it, you could have been that person, and that person could have been you. As an analogy, I like to say that God had millions of dice in her hands. She threw the dice, and some landed 5, some landed 4, some landed 2. Well, in this case, the dice have unlimited number of sides, and when God threw those dice down, one person became Cam, another person became Jack, another person became Mother Teresa, and another person became Hitler. Just as the mountains and the trees and the oceans, the mind is a natural phenomena and the world is a process. The more I hammer this thought into myself, not forcefully, but just by thinking about things, naturally and honestly, the more peace I find within myself, and the more peaceful I am with respect to the other folks around me. I still find that I get angry at people from time to time, but my anger is extremely short-lived because I see the world as a process and it's unfolding in a certain way. I don't hold on to individuality as a concrete, accountable entity to be judged. I do hold people accountable. I even judge myself sometimes. But the deeper person within me knows that this is a process. There's a deeper part of me that doesn't judge even my own mistakes. And I can be forgiving of myself only when I'm forgiving of other people also. This allows me to have a lot of love for all people. This may not sound very digestible to a lot of people, but let's not throw it away. Let's contemplate on it from time to time. If what I'm saying was not true, then Jesus would have never said, if you must hate, hate the sin, not the sinner. Sometimes people ask me, if you don't judge anyone, what do you think about people or governments that do notorious crimes against humanity? For example, recent reports indicate that the Chinese government knew that the virus was there well before it was publicized, and they let people out of their country while maintaining a blockade within their own country. Anger is a natural reaction, but I choose not to live there. I see it as a process. Whatever actions the nations have to take to condemn China and make China accountable are appropriate. I'm not against law enforcement. I am, quote, against, unquote, hatred. The reason why I put against in quotes is that I'm not even against your hatred. How long you live in a negative emotional state is up to you. The whole thing is a process. Something good might come out of this negative situation. This tool is not always easy to digest. We human beings have multiplied tremendously. Just to sustain our way of life, we have to destroy our own habitat. How long are we going to carry on like that anyway? Somehow, we have to be forced into something better. Somehow, we have to be forced into a better way of living. I'm not saying that we should let China off the hook. Anger is natural. But you need not live there. You need not make your home there. In India, there's a legend called the Ramayana. In that legend, a prince by the name of Ram is banished to the forest due to the evil thoughts of his stepmother, who wanted to give the throne to her younger son instead of Ram. Rama's wife Sita also accompanied Ram to the forest, where she was kidnapped by a demon named Ravana. Ravana was responsible for many atrocities on the planet, and Sita's abduction eventually led to a war in which Rama killed Ravana. The point is, the whole thing was a process. Had Rama not been banished to the forest, Ravana would not have so easily been able to kidnap Sita. And had she not been kidnapped, Rama would not have had the opportunity to kill Ravana. So the original sin, banishing Rama to the forest, was just a part of the process. In the same way, coronavirus may be a part of the world process right now. It will force us into new ways of thinking and living. As a race, we tend to treat this planet as if we are at the top of the food chain and all life exists to serve us. Although personally I'm a vegetarian, this is not what I'm talking about. Unconsciously, we have developed and inherited ways of living that are not sustainable. You hear about wildfires a lot nowadays. Historically, the phenomena has always been there, but it has never been this bad. If you Google the satellite image of Australia as we were experiencing wildfires in early 2020, you could see that almost the entire continent seemed to be on fire. This should be a wake-up call. Each person produces about 18 tons of plastic waste in a lifetime. Do you think that the garbage truck is going to capture every single little bit? Do you think that the recycler recycles all that you put out there in the recycling bin? Even the small fraction of this that ends up in the ocean does tremendous damage to wildlife. If there are 8 billion people, how much trash do you think is entering the ocean on a daily basis? A lot. A couple of decades ago, a ship called the Exxon Valdez leaked thousands of barrels of oil into the ocean in Alaska. At that time, we thought that this was a really bad thing. Did you know that in the Gulf of Mexico, there was an accident and oil has been leaking into the ocean for the last decade or so? And nobody has been able to stop it? If you want to Google it, Google Deepwater Horizon. Even if, as individuals, we can't fix all these things. As a collective society, we should be more aware about what is going on so we can make better choices for leaders. Nature will find a way, one way or the other. Something has got to give. So maybe this virus is just another wake-up call. Maybe we're not invincible and maybe we're not special in God's eyes. We thought we were at the top of the food chain, yet this tiny virus has proven us wrong. Maybe all creatures don't exist just to serve us. Maybe we're supposed to live in harmony with them. I realize that most people are not doing damage intentionally. We have inherited a way of life. To recap, what is unfolding is a process. While as a world, China should be held accountable to some degree from a global perspective, it isn't that black and white. Maybe the virus is also a part of the process that's unfolding. Let's not live in reaction. Let's think about things a little bit deeper. Friends, I know it's been a long video. Take a stretch break, relax, have a cup of tea or whatever makes you happy. When you're ready, there's a link to the next part in the video description. If you want to go there straight away, you can click on the card that pops up on this video to move to the next part. And then you can pause the video to take a break if you like.